In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
After 90 minutes, that is the moment everybody's talking about tonight. And the Springfield, Ohio city manager is pushing back tonight, saying they have never had any credible reports that immigrants there are injuring and eating people's pets in that town. Instead, he did say today their biggest challenge in Springfield is the rapid pace of the growth of immigration to their city.
So we ask our political experts to weigh in on last night's debate. Jason Perkey is a Democrat who is the founder and president of the Perkey Group. They offer government relations services. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Jason. And of course, Republican Iris Wilbur Glick has joined us for several years now. She's the founder and owner of her brand new company, IW Strategies. Now, you both picked clips. We asked you to from the debate. And Iris, we want to roll yours. This is what you chose.
Vice President Harris, in your last run for president, you said you wanted to ban fracking. Now you don't. You wanted mandatory government buyback programs for assault weapons. Now your campaign says you don't. You supported decriminalizing border crossings. Now you're taking a harder line. I know you say that your values have not changed. So then why have so many of your policy positions changed?
I made that very clear in 2020. I will not ban fracking. I have not banned fracking as Vice President of the United States. And in fact, I was the tie-breaking vote on the Inflation Reduction Act, which opened new leases for fracking. My work that is about protecting Social Security and Medicare is based on long-standing work that I have done, protecting seniors from scams. My values have not changed.
So, Iris, there you have it. We sort of put this under the umbrella. Who has the edge the day after? Your reaction to that and why you chose that.
Yeah, thanks, Doug. And I think that clip right there is just, fortunately, I think for the Republicans, an example to where, you know, you're sort of given an opportunity to point out, and I think in the case of the Harris campaign, there's some real contrast regarding her changing positions over time during her political career. And, you know, for me, like, you know, I was encouraged that the moderators outline some of those key policy positions that she has changed and it's evolved over time. And yet she sort of evaded the response of, okay, your values have remained the same, yet you've changed these policy positions. How and why? And the lack of response, there was no follow-up. And I think the fact that former President Trump didn't also kind of chase after that and put the pressure on was a real big missed opportunity last night. And I think that was, unfortunately, the theme of the night.
All right. And Jason, you chose a soundbite here of Kamala Harris talking about her economic plan. So let's take a listen.
I have a plan to give startup businesses $50,000 tax deduction, to pursue their ambitions, their innovation, their ideas, their hard work. I have a plan, $6,000 for young families for the first year of your child's life to help you in that most critical stage of your child's development. I have a plan that is about allowing people to be able to pursue what has been fleeting in terms of the American dream by offering a help with down payment of $25,000 down payment assistance for first-time home buyers.
All right, so Jason, tell us why you thought that was a good moment for Kamala Harris.
Well, it was a good moment because it hit me personally. My dad owned a small business for 26 years over in Buchel. Had a little small printing company next to Fern and Moody's Bar. Did printing for the old Bacons, did printing for the Presbyterian Church. How amazing it would have been for him to have an opportunity for a $50,000 tax break from time to time in order to make sure that he can afford to pay his employees' salaries. Also, I think for my friends that have children, a $6,000 child tax credit would go a heck of a long way to just being able to afford childcare. A few months of childcare, when I think that's arguably the most expensive thing that our parents are dealing with. And then finally, I bought my first home 3 years ago. And I bought it with student loans, a car payment, health insurance, car insurance, my own expenses, and the idea that I can get at least a little bit of a break, a $25,000 break to buy my first home would be huge.
So we have a few minutes left, so I want to ask Iris here, the edge tonight. You know, there's always a debate on whether these debates move the needle and is going to make a difference in November. A lot was riding on Kamala Harris, though. Do you believe, as some of the reporting today, that she did get under his skin and fluster him?
Oh, sure. I mean, unfortunately, I think former President Trump took the bait I think he spent a lot of time chasing after, trying to get the last word, responding to some of the attacks. And I think, Doug, for the next 54 days in the campaign world, that's a lifetime. That's a long time, a lot of time left on the clock. I do not think last night moved the needle. I think majority of voters tuning in have already made up their minds, and the very few who remain undecided will continue to be undecided, I think, in the weeks to come, and we'll see the campaign heat up.
With the work that you do, though, does this move the polls, you think?
No, I think the polls, there was some preliminary, coming out of last night, some reactions, remains a dead heat, and I think independent and sort of low information voters and folks that may or may not show up, I mean, those are the votes to get, and it'll be up to the campaigns to engage them in the next 54 days.
And for Kamala Harris, do you feel like she did anything to get those voters last night?
She did, and she's been doing it for the last month. We're seeing an incredible uptick of newly registered Black women and women of color. I have dinner every Sunday with some friends. They talked about whether or not there was a downtick in the level of enthusiasm this Sunday when we were eating, and I just said, let's wait for the debate. Let's wait and see how she performed, and clearly she's going to maintain a level of enthusiasm amongst people that they need to turn out this year.
Do you both agree that women make the difference in this election?
Yes.
Oh, women make the difference in many and most elections, absolutely.
It'll be great. It'll be great to see a woman president of the United States.
What did you
especially a
all
woman
think
of color.
about the handshake? Sorry.
No, it was fantastic. I loved how confident she was going into that debate, and the notion that she would go straight up to him and say, hey, this is who I am and I'm ready.
It was strategic, it was intentional, and I think it set the tone. And, former President Trump, he's been in numerous debates, right? For going on, over 8 years now. And so, well tested, as a Republican, frustrated to see him not rise to the occasion. But like I said, I think in the next 54 days, more to come.
But the dogs comment?
Distracting, beyond the point, did not convey some key issues that I think the Republican ticket and President Trump were strong on, which is, jobs, the economy, and immigration reform, and just missed opportunity to focus on that from last night.
On the dogs?
Yeah, well, I think it's clear that even Kentucky Republicans like Mitch McConnell would find that Kamala won that debate, and that it's absolutely absurd that someone running for president of the United States would want to bring up a comment like that. We need someone who's taking this position seriously and runs seriously and takes issues seriously, and that's not something Donald Trump has ever done.
All right, Jason and Iris, thank you both so much for being here. We appreciate your insights, and we'll be seeing more of you as the election.
And we do want to say congratulations to you, your new company. You're going, and if I know everybody out there saying the name Perky, yes, you are the nephew of the late Wayne Perky,
Probably.
who spent many decades in this very building.
Thank you.
So thank you for coming in.
Yes, sir.
We appreciate it. Connie?
All right, well, as the election quickly approaches, here are some important dates you want to remember in Kentucky and Indiana. Well, the last day to register to vote is less than a month away. October 7th, in-person absentee voting starts October 8th for Indiana voters and October 23rd for Kentuckians.